wherever you're watching us from. Welcome to yet another exciting episode of Churchill Show, My Journey, My Story. Now, you've requested for her. She's been a television actress and now doing so many things, matters to do with the girl child. Today's episode of Churchill Show, My Journey, My Story, we bring you the beautiful story of Pinky Ghelani. Come along.
I go? Yeah. My name is Pinky Ghelani and I call myself an African woman. And a lot of people sort of ask me, but doesn't that mean that you need to be black to be African? To be honest, I've been born and brought up in Kenya and I know myself as an African woman. Here is my history. I was born in the 1900s, in the 70s actually, in 1976 in February. And I was born in Nairobi, Kenya. My father had married twice, so I am the daughter of a second wife. He had a very, very interesting history, my father. His father had a wheat farm in Malakisi in Bungoma, and he's originally from Kisumu, so you could say that that's my shags. He built his name and a lot of wealth, you know, in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s. He had a lot of great opportunities, and he also worked with the second president of this country very, very closely. So I guess that left me to live a very privileged life. Unfortunately, my father died when I was 6 years old. I had two older brothers, and the reason that I'm called Pinky is because when I was born, I was very pink. And these two brothers came to see me in the hospital, and they were like, "What does she look like?" Because they weren't allowed inside. And my mom said, "Well, she's very pink." And they're like, "Can we call her Pinky?" Sure. So that's how I got my nickname. My real name is actually a name given to me by my father. It's Preeti, it means love. So my dad died when I was 6 years old. And like I said, because, you know, there was a lot of wealth of the family, because there was a huge estate, and because there was a first wife dynamic, there were a lot of problems. So growing up, I saw my mom in and out of court, being questioned. It's things that the movies are made out of. My stepbrother, so the son of the first wife, once burnt my mom on her leg with a hot skewer because he wanted money. He put a gun to her head because he wanted money. And these are things I was witness to as I was growing up. Like I said, privileged. I was very lucky. I went to some of the best schools. One of them was St. Austin's Academy. My brothers went to Kenton College. I then went to Turi, which is a boarding school, which I didn't really enjoy. I didn't enjoy boarding school, I guess because I lost my father and suddenly I was away from my family. And I really begged my mom to bring me back from Turi, so she did. And that's when I went back into St. Austin's Academy. And over there we had like a lot of mixed students. So this is where I learned to mix with people from all backgrounds. I never was brought up with the fact that people were a different color than me or a different race or a different religion. I was never taught that. What happened to me when I was in school though is that I was heavily bullied. I was bullied by a Nigerian girl, I remember. I was bullied by eventually my entire class because what I used to do is hang out with boys because I was comfortable hanging out with boys, having been brought up by brothers. And, you know, people didn't like that. My girls in my class didn't like that. So I was bullied to the point where I begged my mom never to send me back to school. And I'm so glad that she listened to me. So what happened is I ended up sitting my O-levels privately. And I then went into Braeburn High School, you know, for the rest of my school days. And again, it was great, but I was younger than everybody in my year group, and it was just trying to fit in, always trying to fit in, trying to find myself amongst my peers, amongst the people who I was, you know, trying to get along with. So I was always trying to find myself. I finished my A-levels at the age of 16, and I took a gap year because I was too young to go to university. And I started working. So in my gap year, I started work at Copycat And it was really cool because I remember my first salary was 800 shillings and I did the right thing. I gave all of it to my mom and it was quite interesting. It was interesting to learn the world of corporate from such a young age. By the time I hit 17, I was ready to go to university and I was really adamant. I didn't want to go to university anywhere else except the States. You know, I applied to all the colleges and all the universities and I finally managed to get in. I wanted to study law and fashion design. So it was two completely opposites, right? But those are the two things that I was quite passionate about. So eventually I chose law. In August 1993, I left the country and made it to the States 2 days later. You know how it is with all these flights. And after a week, I got a phone call that I had to come back. They didn't tell me why. They didn't tell me what was going on at home. But my mother said that she needed to be operated on, so she wanted me here. And when I arrived, I remember it was a Wednesday morning, 5 a.m. And in those days, you know, both my brothers, they were quite the hustlers. And they would come into, you know, you'd find a way, get into immigration, come all the way to the aircraft to collect your guest. And nobody was there to collect me, so I found that a bit odd. And as I went downstairs, JKIA was very different than what it was today. It was all glass on arrival, so you could see outside, you could see who's come to pick you up. And I could see my brother and all his friends at 5 in the morning on a Wednesday, and I found that really odd. And as I walked outside, the first person I asked for was one of my brothers, Raju. I asked my eldest brother, I said, "Where's Raju?" And he looked at me and he said, I'll explain it to you. And as we got to the car, he told me to give him a hug and he said, Raju was in a car accident and he didn't make it. And I couldn't understand that. I was 17 and I just couldn't understand. At the age of 6, I lost my father, and 11 years later, I've lost my brother. So, you know, I fought with him, as you do when you hear of news like this. And, you know, the security guards had to be pulled in because everybody thought that I was being raped or physically abused because of how I violently reacted. And then they brought me home and I had to cremate my brother. So at that point, I made the decision never to leave home again because bad things happen when I leave home. So this is the reason that I never went out of the country to further my studies. I again joined the workforce. I started working at a shop called Tinga Tinga as a sales girl. And then I moved up. I became a manager of retail shops. And there was a modeling agency called Kelu at the time. And because my mom had modeled for the late Jomo Kenyatta on Independence Day, I was so inspired by her. I decided that I was going to take a course at Kelu and become a model. And that's what I did. So I worked and I started getting opportunities to be on the catwalk and be photographed. And that is basically how I grew up.
Hi everyone, all the viewers around the world. The serenity around Diani will give you all the reasons to invest in Diani Palms. We are only selling Diani Palms at 500,000 Kenya shillings, a very prime area to have your holiday home, to have cottages and investments around with only 500,000 Kenya shillings. We also have a payment plan, a flexible payment plan of 100,000 for every month for 6 months. Welcome, karibuni sana Diani Palms.
Credo faster, unua credo sasa imekuwa rahisi na credo faster. Kumbuka ni *264#. Credo faster, unua credo sasa imekuwa rahisi na credo faster. Churchill Show.
All right, welcome back to Churchill Show, my journey, my story. My goodness, I hope you're enjoying yourself here with the most beautiful lady. My goodness, Pinky Ghelani, Miss India, Kenya, right?
Well, that was 21 years ago.
No, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. How are you
You
doing,
need to
Pinky?
give me a crown if you're going to call me that.
Really? Nitatafuta.
Okay.
Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Looking amazing.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah, it's called makeup.
Yeah, no, nothing. You look, it's just natural.
Ah,
Yeah?
thank
Uko hivyo tu.
you. Yeah, you're so kind.
Yeah, karibu sana. Now, we have a lot to share about. From Turi to Kisumu Jadala. You're from Kisumu?
Imagine, that's
Tell me
my
that
shags.
story, Kisumu
So
Shagu.
my father was brought up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was his home for the longest time, all of his life. He grew up in Kisumu.
Uh-huh.
But when he married my mom,
Yes.
because my mom is wife number 2,
All right.
she was Nairobian.
How was that, by the way? Your mom being the second wife, how was
It
that?
was interesting because, I mean, like, you know, family dramas,
Yes.
and he never really divorced the first wife.
Right.
So my dad was a hustler, complete hustler. So
Hustler.
he found a way to commit bigamy,
Yeah.
which is against the law. he took my mom to Tanzania and married her because it was allowed. You're allowed 2 wives in Tanzania. So he found loopholes and he did his thing.
So how many were you in your family?
My family, me, my mom,
Yes.
and my 2 brothers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me about your brother and your mom.
Wow. My brothers were always very protective over me because, of course, my dad died when I was 6. So they'd always like sort of protect me. I never used to have any boys look at me. Even when I was 16, I'm like, I want to date. They're like, stay at home. So it was interesting. And my mom, my superhero
Yeah.
for life. Yeah.
She took care of you. Who paid for the school fees?
So my dad, as I said before, very wealthy man. He did a lot of work
Yeah.
with the late President Moi. Yeah, and he really, like I said, I was born into privilege. So there was trust funds, there was a big estate, but a lot of it, unfortunately, pull and push in court.
Yeah.
So just too much drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you finished well.
Yeah.
Tell me about your brother. What happened?
My brother who passed away in a
Yes.
car accident, he
Yeah.
died. He was in the middle of a work day.
Yeah.
So he was trying to move from one go down to another go down. We had a peanut factory at that time. And he was showing the movers, and he was on Enterprise Road. At that time, it was a very narrow road. And there was a truck oncoming in his lane, just rammed into him, pushed him into one of the walls of one of the go-downs, and he went into a coma immediately. And then he stayed in that coma 4 hours and took his last breath as my mom and my brother, I was in the States, were with him, and yeah, that is life, my journey.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that.
It's
So,
okay.
and the other brother?
The other brother is a personal trainer.
Yeah.
So he's always been into weightlifting and training. So you can imagine why I never had boyfriends, right? Because he was this big dude.
He's big dude. Yeah? He's around.
He's very much around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And thriving.
Tell me about St. Andrew's story.
Oh, St. Andrew. Like I said, I wasn't a fan of boarding school.
Right.
I was there for 1 year. It was daunting. I was 9 years old.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
9? You were
9, yeah.
Turi at
yeah,
9?
at 9. And 6 years old, I lost my dad. So for me, it was like separation anxiety from my family. It
Yeah.
was very like, oh, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. And I think I used to get hurt on purpose. So eventually what happened is I broke, you know, there's some stairs going to the chapel.
Yeah.
So we were playing a game and I fell and I broke my leg. And that's when I told my mom, I don't want to go back.
This leg.
I think it was this leg, my left leg.
Then where did you go after that?
St. Austin's Academy. It was the
Nairobi.
coolest school.
What do you remember about St. Austin's?
So again, my brother's a big part of my life.
You moved together.
No, they were already there.
Okay.
So they went to Kenton College,
Yeah.
and then they moved to St. Austin's, and then I just joined them. But what I remember is after they left, I was heavily bullied.
Really?
Because I always consider myself different,
Yeah.
which is not a bad thing. You know, being different is good.
How different?
I don't follow the pack. I refuse to follow the pack. So I was hanging out with the boys in my class
Right.
at an age where boys are now like, oh, those are boys, no. And because I was brought up with boys, so I was more comfortable with their company. And the girls in my year group used to make fun of it.
Yeah.
And my brothers taught me how to stand up for myself. So
Great. now that your brothers were this protective, when did you have your first boyfriend?
I had my first proper boyfriend when I was 18.
Right after high school?
Yeah, I mean, like, okay, but I'd finished my high school when I was 16 because I took a year. Like I sat my O levels privately, and then I went into high school earlier.
Yeah.
So I lost my brother. I was here for when I lost him. I moved back to Nairobi.
Yeah.
And I was working. I was already working. So I had a boyfriend when I was 18. When I was working.
Was he
so
Asian?
again, you see, that's different.
Yeah.
I was not in any university. I was in working, and my boyfriend was slightly younger than me. So it's like,
Was he Asian or?
yes, he's
Have you had an African?
no.
Because of your mom again.
Well, I mean, look, when I was growing up,
Yeah.
I was never brought up to see a difference in color.
Yeah.
Never. And that's again something that I feel that is unique. That we were never taught.
Yeah.
That this is different from you. So do this differently to them. But within the community, there's always been like, there is an African community and an Asian community.
Right.
And we all know that there is a certain taboo.
Yeah.
Now you see they're called what? Blindians.
Yes.
Black and Indian marriages.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, it was always like, I knew people,
Yeah.
but it was always quiet.
Yeah.
You don't talk about it. And you really keep it on the down low, and you can be an outcast, you can be thrown out of your family,
Yeah.
you know.
That's serious.
Yeah.
Now tell me something about your mom.
My mom.
Yes.
When I talk about her, you'll just see me talk everything about her because she's just an amazing woman. When she was younger, she had been offered the opportunity to be on Harper's Bazaar magazine as a model.
Wow.
She modeled in front of the late Jomo Kenyatta on Independence Day. She was always outspoken. I believe she is the person who's been breaking generational curses in our family for a long time. She was invited to India to be a Bollywood star, but my father said no. My father's like, you are marrying me, and that's that.
That's that.
So he kept her very high on a pedestal.
Yeah.
He looked after her very well. She's a very beautiful woman. And then when he died, she really had to become a fighter. And she fought his family. They didn't make it easy on her.
Yeah.
When my brother died, she was broken because, of course, losing your child.
Was your firstborn?
No, middle son.
Yeah. You're the last one.
I'm the last one, I'm the baby. And then 6 years ago, she had a stroke. So a blood clot in the brain, which unfortunately, as much as we got her into hospital in time, we weren't able to help her. So she has paralysis on the right side, and she's unable to speak. She's in a wheelchair and very dependent on everyone around her. That is my life.
But do you get to communicate?
Yes, she understands. She just can't speak. So her language is na 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 na.
But she can hear.
Yes.
You want to tell her something now, right now?
Mommy, I love you. I'm proud of you, and I'll always be. You are just the most magnificent person, and I'm so grateful that I am your daughter.
Awesome.
Spirit warrior.
Spiritual. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Now, I need, when you come back,
Yes.
tell me about your career, what you're
Okay.
doing right now.
Absolutely.
And of course, your future plans.
Definitely.
All right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, when we come back.
Okay.
So, can you tell them we'll be right back after the break?
We'll be right back after the break.
In Indian.
No. I speak Hindi badly and I speak Kiswahili badly. But in my head,
Yeah.
I speak it really well.
Okay. That's all. Tell them we'll be right back after the break.
We'll be back after the break.
Awesome. That's how we do it. After the break.
Are you looking for a serene and scenic environment for your dream home? At Marijani Vipingo Beach, we are offering the best options for both investment and residential property. From apartments to beautiful maisonades with plot prices from 1.95 million. For more information, call us on 0711 082 500.
Welcome back to Churchill Show, My Journey, My Story. And what a guest we have here, beautiful Pinky Ghelani. We've talked a lot during the break. Karibu sana. Welcome
I know.
back.
We really have.
Yeah, we'll talk about yoga
Sure.
and your wedding in Makindo. How was that?
That was amazing.
Yeah.
It was a request by my late father-in-law.
Yeah.
And he was like, could you get married in Makindu?
Yeah.
I think we are the second couple ever to have gotten married there.
In Makindo.
Yeah.
The big temple.
Yes. Yeah.
I know the place.
And it's a very spiritual place, so we feel very blessed to have gotten married there.
When we were growing up, they used to say you pass by Makindo,
You need
eat
to
and
stop.
sleep
Yeah.
for free.
Always, even now.
Even now.
Even now.
But don't get used. How's Mzee doing?
He's well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the little ones?
They're growing
Yeah.
every day. They're, older. They surprise me. They're wiser than I am.
Yeah.
I learn from them. Thank you.
The first one is Ali,
Ariana.
Ariana.
Yes. Arian,
And Ari.
my son.
Asante sana.
You're having chai.
I'm having chai. Do you know some Swahili?
I do.
You speak some Swahili?
If I start speaking with you Kiswahili, I'll be made fun of. Like the show will take on a different.
Unajua Kiswahili
That
gani?
would be the focus.
Eh? Really?
Yeah.
Hata kidogo.
I know.
Kidogo.
Najua. You see, now even that is wrong, I'm sure.
Unajua?
Deal.
Asante sana. We're going to Mombasa, I'll teach you. So you were telling me something about your children,
Yes,
that you should be having.
6. I would be a mom of 6, but I had 4 miscarriages. So I have 6 babies, 4 in heaven, and 2 are here physically with me.
How's that?
It was very hard, heartbreaking. I don't think we talk about it enough because a loss of a child, no matter at what stage in the pregnancy, is a loss, and the parents need to grieve. But we just sort of like get on with life. Just move on. It's fine. It happened. Move on.
So where were you getting all this strength? Keep trying again and again.
The fact that I really wanted to be a mom, my mom gave me strength, my husband gave me strength, but I really believe in the power of prayer. I knew, can I tell you something? As much as I don't call myself Hindu or Sikh or anything, I'm spiritual, but on my first miscarriage, I had a dream of Jesus. Like Jesus said to me, your child is with me. So I believe in the power of prayer. Amen.
4.
4, yeah.
And now you have Aliyah,
Ariana
Ariana.
and Aryan, yes.
That's my love.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah?
You get to meet them, I'm sure.
I will.
Yeah.
So what are you working on right now? Television?
There's a lot that I'm working on. I am a gender equality advocate for Better for Kenya, and I'm a high-level influencer for UNHCR. So, I'm very focused on empowering women, girls, girl child. It's just that whole conversation where I feel like an empowered woman will not keep information to herself. She will spread it not only to her family, but through her community. So it's just really important that we learn how important women are in our community. And I know that narrative it's very common now. We are hearing it, we're recognizing it. Women are stepping into their power more and more. And I'm happy to be able to help in that quest.
There's something you're working on next week, the conference? What are you moderating?
So we're moderating the conference, the Agnes Tirop conference, to sort of bring in the conversation around gender equality in sports in Kenya and around the world. As you know, Agnes Tirop was murdered by the hands of gender violence.
Right.
And it's just unfortunate. That's our hero, our national hero.
That's right.
And she was killed. So, it doesn't have to take the death of a hero for us to have these conversations. Right. We have to be having these conversations. We have to be able to be telling our women in our communities that you don't have to accept this.
That's right.
Yeah.
So you're working closely with the ambassador, CS Amina?
Yes, I am.
Mohammed?
Yeah. It's an honor to be you know, handpicked
Yeah.
to be able to have these conversations. It's an honor to be recognized as a person who empowers women. And it's also important for the women in our government to take initiatives like this, because that's the only time change is going to be made. Yeah.
Great. And television?
And television, it's always been a part of my life. I love the camera.
You are made for television.
I was made for the
For
camera.
camera, yeah.
But yeah, let's see how that goes. I do something called What Women Want. It's on YouTube.
Right.
And that again is just highlighting what women are doing and what we want. And that's going well, but on to bigger and better things. Yeah.
Is your daughter thinking of joining in the media?
So you know,
Yeah.
I told my daughter the other day, I said, you have everything it takes to be a model. And she said to me, Mama, I want to do my own thing. I don't want to be you. And it was
What's
really,
that?
it's inspiring
Yeah.
that she has her own mind.
Yes.
And I have to encourage that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
sexy.
Yeah.
She's still here. She's
Yeah,
11.
she's 11.
Yeah.
But it's good to be kichwagumu.
Yeah. Kitongumu. Yeah. You were telling me about yoga.
Yes.
Yeah. What is this yoga?
It's a form of exercise. Today it's evolved in so many ways, but it's a form of exercise that has come from India, and it's using your body, your breath, your mind, your soul to find alignment and healing.
That's the only exercise you do.
I do that. That's my where I feel best. I do other exercises. I dabble, but yoga, I love yoga.
So what keeps you moving?
Moving in everything.
Yeah, inspires, yeah.
It's just I just don't feel like I'm done. Like I'm always ready to challenge myself. I want something bigger. I need to do something more. I
Yeah.
feel like there's a bit of a legacy to be left. Yeah.
More babies?
You know, I'm going to be 46 in February. I don't know if having more babies would be a good idea. I don't know. Because, you know, I'll be like 70 taking them to university. Yeah.
Yeah, that one can stay. for
Yeah,
now,
I'm
for now,
okay
for
with
now.
it. I mean, like, I can have babies in the form of animals, dogs and cats, because I really believe that
Yeah.
they need love
Yeah.
as well. So
Great.
I'm a mom all around, yeah.
So what are you working on now?
So, like I said, we're just trying to push the agenda of women empowerment and making sure that it's being heard in the right places and spaces. We want to make sure that girls, young girls like my daughter, are empowered so they can step into their power sooner than we are. And then of course the girl child. And we're not forgetting the boys and the men in all of this. Mental health is really essential when it comes to men. And my job when I speak to women is to inform them about how to support their partners or their spouses and how to recognize that, because you guys are human, right?
Yes,
At
we
the
are.
end of the day, we can't put all our troubles on you. So we have to be able to recognize that. And also the boys, helping boys grow up to understand no means no, to understand that you need to ask me if you want to touch me,
Yes.
to understand that violence is, you know, it starts within the home, and to also know that a powerful woman is not a threat.
Right. Then I think and the reason why a lot of people have requested for you to come on this episode, on this show, you love interacting with the Waafrika.
Yes.
And because most of your community, they are a bit reserved.
Distant.
So hii ulitoa wapi? Kisumu ama?
I think it's upbringing. Like I said, I was never taught that
Yeah.
there is a difference.
Yeah.
I believe racism is taught,
Yeah.
and I fully consider myself a Kenyan. But it's not the entire Indian community. You will see a lot of the Indian community who are more open now. We are very proud to be Kenyan. And, you know, maybe it's just conditioning or how we've been brought up, but those things are changing. Seriously, Churchill, you'll see big changes.
Yes, they are
Yeah, you'll see
changing.
more mixed race
Yeah.
babies, I'm sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Political ambition?
Never. I've always been asked, to be honest, I have been asked, will you, would you? It's not,
Why?
I just think within me it won't sit right. It's just not something that,
Yeah, because you hardly even comment on political issues and stuff.
I don't know. I find it's, it's called politics for a reason. And being in the media, having been in radio and television, there's a lot of politics in that as well. So I had my taste of it.
Yeah.
And it's a dirty game. And to be honest, I don't really want to play dirty games.
Yeah, you're done. You want to finish.
Yeah, I'm happy pushing right agendas.
Yeah.
I don't want to play games.
Yeah. Not interested.
Not interested.
Do you miss radio?
I do. I miss the fun of being live on air, interacting with the community immediately. Just that impact that you can have.
Yeah.
Will I ever go back?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It's changed so much, right?
What has changed? Nothing much has changed.
It's changed.
Your voice is the same.
Oh no, I haven't. The radio dynamic has changed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the talent has remained.
Yeah, true. But then you see, like, I have not changed, but you need to be able to evolve, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, what entertainment is today, again, I don't know if I align with it.
Yeah. And social media?
Yeah, I'm on social media.
Yeah.
You'll find me doing my thing on social media.
Okay, you can share your social media handles.
It's all of it. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Pinky Ghelani.
At Pinky Ghelani.
Yeah.
Awesome.
You'll
Final
find me
word.
there.
Final word.
You tell me, what would you like me to say a final word on?
Talk to a young girl listening to you right now who has ambitions to be, who looks up to you.
Yeah. I think what I would say to that young girl is that, growing up to be able to find out who you are is sometimes very confusing, sometimes very challenging. You're very lucky to grow up in the world that we are in today because there is a lot of information available. However, you have to be very intentional on who you want to be at a much younger age, unfortunately. You have to find out who you need to be because your your cyber footprint, is it called that?
Yeah.
It begins a lot earlier now and it stays with you throughout. So you have to be intentional from a young age. And you should never be afraid to use your voice. It is there for a reason. No matter who tries to shut it up, your community, your husband, your in-laws, your parents, use your voice.
Use your voice. So final word from Pinky Ghelani, the beautiful Pinky Ghelani. My goodness, advocating for girls to have a voice in the society. Thank you so much. It was great hosting you.
Thank you, Churchill. Always a pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
Nimeshukuru.
Umeongea Kiswahili. Ingine?
That's it.
Asante. All right, tumemaliza.
Asante.
Johnny Jema. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Churchill Show.